Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score!
Ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary. And I said, Stone Cold, why have one when you can have them both?
Swung out and drilled! Deep right center! Away back! Gone for Tony!
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Awful.
How is she awful?
Hates freedom.
And now, Any Given Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Ward and Ethan Simpson.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Welcome back to another great episode of Any Given Podcast. I'm your co-host Ethan Simpson,
and I'm Brendan Ward.
and today we'll be touching on NASCAR, Major League Baseball, the NFL, and the NBA. So I'm going to start off with NASCAR, Brendan. So they decided that they're going to race this Sunday on the 17th in Darlington with no fans in the stands. How do you feel about that?
I actually think it's really good. I think coming back to something, even if it's NASCAR, not as widely known as a sport, I still think it's really good. The thing with me is the television part of NASCAR, I don't think gets to the... Let me try to word this better because I was just stumbling over my words. The television part of NASCAR, what you see on television, is not affected that much by the fans. You know what I'm saying? When you're watching NASCAR, you're not watching, you're not really even noticing fans, especially you're not hearing the crowd noise like you are with baseball or basketball or football. Just simply because you're listening to the commentary, and those guys are up in a booth, a soundproof booth, because of how fast those cars are. So I think it'll almost be like watching it there, because all you're really going to get to hear is the cars go around and around and around, and then you're going to hear whoever they have on commentary. But I do think it's a great step in the right direction, even if it is just NASCAR coming back, a single person in a car. I think it's a step in the right direction, and with UFC and that coming back already, I think it gives hope for us, for Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NFL to have a shot at playing again this year.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that I was kind of confused about when 2 months ago they quit doing races. It's like, that's the most social distancing sport in America. Everybody's in their own car. Like, all you really have to do is test the drivers and the pit crew. That's it.
Yeah.
Besides that, the guys are alone in the car. It's not football where you're tackling each other or sweating on each other like in the NBA. And even in baseball, you're in the dugout where you're touching the ball. Somebody might have, coughed on their hand, sneezed on their hand, and then they throw the ball to you and you touch it and you touch your face, because baseball, obviously you're covered in clay, so you're sweat and you're touching your face. So I didn't really understand the whole NASCAR being postponed and them doing like the video game part of it. But I guess NASCAR, they had to do it just because everybody else was doing it. So what I found interesting about NASCAR is they're not going to run practices or qualifying for Darlington. Positions 1 through 12 will be determined by a random draw. 13 through 24 will be a random draw among charter teams in those positions in owner points. They're all by owner points.
Okay.
And that's just kind of how it goes down until 40. So at least something's back. I know UFC is back, which UFC is another one of those things like you were saying about baseball or football or basketball where it's crowd affected. Because, you get the crowd going, it gets the people in. As Will Ferrell would say, it gets the people going.
gets the people going. Yeah, and I would agree. It was a weird experience watching UFC over the weekend. Obviously, just happy to see live sports, and I'll deal with the silent crowd and the different experience. I'll deal with that just so I could have my live sports back. It was just weird. Like Greg Hardy fought, and he's a big dude, and he fought another really big dude, and like you could just hear them just huffing and puffing and for 15 minutes straight, and I'm like, I didn't realize how much the crowd drowned it out until it actually happened. And the thing with that is, some of the fighters actually were like, we actually heard commentary coaching us, and it helped.
Yeah, I can totally get that. 'Cause it's like he's keeping his left hand down, and you hear that, so you keep your left hand up, which totally makes sense. But hey, at least NASCAR is back. And we're going to switch it over now to Major League Baseball, who the owners just voted and they approved a 82-game schedule with late playoffs, adding 14 teams instead of 10. But they're waiting on the Major League Baseball Players Association to approve of it. And today, Mr. Clark, the chairman, came out and said that they think that Major League Baseball is using this to get a cap salary or salary cap, and to try and make more money, and it's turning into a whole cash grab, is what he was trying to say. Your thoughts, Brendan?
Unfortunately, I see kind of that's where it's headed. It's headed to where that. Yes, the MLB owners proposed it, but what hasn't been talked about in that proposal, I'm sure, is the pay cut they're going to ask these guys to take.
Yeah, and obviously it makes sense. They're not playing 182 games; they're playing 82.
I get that. I understand it makes sense. I do, however, think that once word comes out that the reason baseball isn't back is now because of money in the times we're in now compared to everything else. Everyone's out of a job. They're record breaking unemployment right now. And for people to be even though it is, then they deserve every penny they get, and there's not a salary cap for a reason. Even though there's all of that stuff, I think for them to kind of be brought to a grinding halt just simply because of money is a very bad look for baseball.
Oh, absolutely. And, somebody who should be taking a pay cut, Bryce Harper, those guys that are getting these enormous contracts and these enormous paydays, and they can't even, they claim they love the game, but
let's see.
They won't, yeah. Because if you look at in the history of other sports, what did Tom Brady do pretty much his whole career? Took pay cuts to make his team better.
It's the reason the Patriots have been so successful for so long.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, 82-game schedule. I understand that. They said in June they're starting spring training 2.0, and every team's going to play at their home field. So maybe some people get some glimpse of some Indians players out there through the gates of Progressive Field.
I'm sure they'll be lining up outside the stadium. I doubt in Cleveland they're just going to be like, oh, just go play baseball. Yeah. I guarantee it.
And there you go. You're going to get the crowd feel. Because everybody's going to be, especially at the left field gates, where you can see right into the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are going to be there.
Opening day is going to be nothing but helicopter shots on WKYC later that night of what looks like a mini Cavaliers championship parade. I guarantee it. I'm calling it right now.
Around the whole stadium too.
Yes.
So what I like is I like the 82 game schedule. I like them getting back into the groove of things. As you know, I missed baseball. I've seen your tweets. You've missed baseball. I think everybody has missed baseball, and it's a good thing to get it back going. But with the late playoffs, that's going to be one of the things we've discussed on the podcast before with the neutral sites, and that's gonna be another thing that throws off how these games are played.
It's gonna have to enforce neutral sites, right? You can't play a November baseball game, a mid-November, late November baseball game in Cleveland. You can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It'll be
a fact, yeah.
It'll be 25 degrees. There'll be 3 inches of snow on the ground for weeks come November 20th. And if not, it's still not going to be hot enough to play baseball. There's no way late November in Cleveland you're going to be playing baseball. Now, if the Indians aren't one of the 14 teams that make it, then I could see okay, but like even then, you can't play baseball in Chicago. You can't play baseball in Detroit. You can't play it in Minnesota. All these central teams, there's no way you can hold playoffs in late November, early December.
Yeah. Oh, especially up in Boston or Seattle. Seattle has a retractable
Yeah.
roof. So.
Boston, New York, none of them. You're gonna have to play in Miami, Arizona, Los Angeles,
Yeah.
Texas.
Which I could see if, say, East Coast team does happen to go to the series, and they're playing it in Miami or St. Petersburg or in Phoenix, then I could see that being like a home field advantage, because a lot of people from Cleveland or Boston or New York, live down there in those warm cities. So I could see that being more like a home field advantage, but still, it's gonna suck either way when it comes down to it, just because of how everything is changed around, and they're making the DH universal. So now National League teams will have a DH this year. How do you feel about that?
I feel one of two ways, and I'm fine with both. I feel like either the DH should have already been gone, or both leagues should have already had it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, because these pitchers in the American League they train all year round to just throw the ball. Not bat. Some of them do. Don't get me wrong. They like messing around, bringing it back to college and high school, but
exactly.
They're not used to taking 95-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Yeah, I think it came down to it like a couple years ago. They put Cody Allen at the plate against Aroldis Chapman, and I was just like,
yeah,
what do you expect to happen here, bro? He's throwing 100 miles an hour. There's no way Cody Allen's hitting that.
Yeah, absolutely not. And it's just an unfair advantage to the American League. So I like the universal DH. I know some pitchers might not like it, like Bumgarner. I know he's been very vocal about letting pitchers into the home run derby during the All-Star game, but I think it just evens the playing field.
That's what exactly. I think I get like some baseball purist is gonna be, it takes away from the strategy of the game we've always known, or the tradition of the game we always known. Who cares, bro? Every pitcher should have to hit, or every team should have a DH. That's how it should be. It's dumb that in a World Series we got to play game 1 and 2 under AL rules, and then games 3 and 4 under NL, and then go back and forth. It's dumb. There's no way around it. So I like the universal DH, because I think all it's gonna do is it's gonna help teams. I think no team really wants their pitcher going up there. Even in the National League, no team in the National League wants a pitcher going up there either.
Because why? It's like why you have an offensive line to keep your quarterback from getting sacked, but you can let your running back or wide receiver get hit.
Yeah.
It's the same concept, because the pitcher is so valuable in baseball that the pitcher is pretty much your quarterback.
Exactly.
So, and me personally, after seeing last season with Bauer breaking his arm and all the things that were going on with Clevenger and especially with Carlos Carrasco having leukemia, I don't want him going up to bat.
If you think about it, you had your top four pitchers were struggling, were injury riddled last year. Kluber, Carrasco, Bauer, and Clevenger all were missed some time last year. And like you said, them swinging a bat and making contact and doing all that's doing is putting those pitchers at more risk. And they're already at probably the most risk. Maybe not in major injuries, but in terms of ligament damage and Tommy John surgeries and stuff like that. And like you said, they're your quarterback. They're the people who are getting the $300 million contracts, even if they aren't great.
Yeah, and last year, Corey Kluber took that fastball off his forearm. Or not a fastball, I'm sorry. A line drive off his forearm. And it fractured his forearm, and he was out for half the season. So I don't want my pitchers out there having to go through that.
As an Indians fan, you've seen Corey Kluber in one game after that hit.
Yeah.
He came back, got hurt again, and now he plays for the Texas Rangers.
Yep. Which, it's bittersweet, you know.
It is, especially now that with an 80-game season likely happening, no Emmanuel Clase till next year.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm happy we got Kluber in his prime, you know, the two Cy Youngs. But it's bittersweet, just like seeing Brantley in an Astros uniform. He couldn't produce, and then he goes to the Astros, and now he's perfectly healthy again. He's not injury prone. So.
Oh, I know. It's Brantley in an Astros uniform. It's Tomey in a Phillies uniform. It's Lindor wherever he ends up. It's Ramirez when they gotta pay him wherever he ends up.
You know what? I had a nightmare the other night that Lindor got traded to the Cubs.
I'll cry. I'll come on this damn show and cry my eyes out if he's a Chicago Cub.
I was in cold sweats. You ever have those dreams where you wake up and you're still angry in person?
Yes.
It was like, 4 a.m. I was just pissed off beyond belief. I was furious.
I wouldn't have been able to fall back asleep. I'd have been like, hurry. I'm like, I gotta call the Dolans, man. I gotta call them.
Right. Pay the guy.
Just not Chicago.
Right. Or the Yankees or another AL Central. Send them to the NL.
No Chicago, no New York, no Boston.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of baseball coming back, they recently tested, you know what, it's slipping my mind how many they tested. But out of the people they tested, I think 60 of them had COVID-19, which was, it's at a 7% of the people they tested had it, which is extremely low. But then now they're saying that, with baseball coming back, it could spike up, and, I feel like they're just trying to make these excuses.
I think it's a little bit of like propaganda almost, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's not the right word. I'm sure I could come up with better terms, but just to explain my point, basically just like anytime it seems like things are going in a positive direction when it comes to returning to normalcy. Oh, well, 60 people tested positive. Well, yeah, but 500
were tested.
Yeah. I think it was like 700 or something like that. So it came to 7% or so.
Something like that.
Yeah, I probably could have did the math in my head, but I just threw out a 500. That's the thing. Even worse, 800 people were tested. Only 60 came back positive. There's 3,500 people in the NFL, but you're telling me I've only heard of 2 people that have it?
Right. Same with the NBA. There was only a couple guys that had it.
I could, on a handful, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, a handful of people, and 4 of them played for the same damn team.
Didn't Kevin Durant finally come out and say he had it?
Yeah, there were 2 Nets players, KD and somebody else. They never named.
Probably.
Who else would it be, man?
They're probably hugging in the locker room.
Them flat earthers, you never know.
Licking each other's wounds.
Licking each other's.
But yeah, to go off what you said, I think it's just these, science nerds or as they say in Always Sunny, science bitches that want to keep sports away because, ooh, sports ball.
Exactly. It's just if we could come back, please come back, because I think if anything you've learned about sports in the last 2 months, it's that the world needs sports.
Yeah, and it's not even there's so many people that aren't giant sports fans like me and you, but they still watch sports because it's a type of thing to get their mind off of what is going on in their daily life in the world. It's a 4 hours that distracts you from whatever's going on.
4 of the most unexpected hours you could ever put yourself through. You never know what is going to happen.
And that's the one thing I don't understand. People that don't like sports, they're like, oh, sports ball jocks, because they got bullied in high school or something by a football player. Like, dude, have you ever actually sat down and watched what can happen? It's the most unexpected time, too.
Yeah.
Like the Browns beating the Patriots with Brian Hoyer a couple years ago. The defending Super Bowl champion Patriots. No one called that, and they beat the crap out of them.
I almost wore my Brian Hoyer Michigan State jersey shirt.
Speaking of Hoyer,
I feel it. There's so many people that doubt he's going to play for them this year. I'll put money on that he plays at least 6 games for the Patriots this year.
Hey, man, let them talk. Let the birds chirp.
Let the birds chirp.
That's why they're for the birds. All right, so we're going to switch from MLB over to the NBA, and I'm going to let Brendan take this one over.
Okay, so with the NBA, there's not much going on, but the biggest thing going on, because it's their biggest star, not named LeBron James or Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, rookie who had just come back from injury right before everything happened and looked like he was going to live up to the hype. But now his former marketing agent, I don't really remember her name, but basically served him papers that he had to now go under testimony and admit to so many different things. Admit that Lee Anderson and I'm going to say Lee Anderson because I know that he was one of them, basically took gifts from all these different people on Zion's behalf. Took gifts from Duke, whether it was directly or indirectly. Adidas to be persuaded to wear those shoes. Nike to be persuaded to wear those shoes. And they want him to go under testimony and basically admit to all this. And as you know, under testimony, if you lie, you go to jail. It's called perjury. So basically, we both put down. You came up with it, and we both were thinking it. Does it really affect his future? Do you think it affects his future?
No, because I personally think no, because what star NCAA men's basketball player does not receive gifts from so many different teams? That's just a fact. It's what happens. I mean, I can't believe it's still something being talked about. Even Shaq came out and was like, yeah, LSU gave me this stuff. Like, all these people, they get paid in stuff. Why do you think people go to Duke and play one season and dip? They get a little taste of what's to come if they come to Duke, come to Kentucky.
Come to those blue bloods. Come to those blue bloods that have the boosters and have all that stuff behind them. And I mean, I totally agree. I tweeted something out like, so what? Go admit it, dude. What are they gonna do now? You're an NBA player. You're your own brand. You're your own business. What are they gonna do now? Suspend you? They can't suspend you from something you did before you even were in the NBA. I think all it should do really is expose, like, why isn't the NCAA already paying these guys? Like,
or just let them get their endorsements.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about this before, and that's exactly what they did with this. They can profit off their likeness thing. Basically, the NCAA was like, all right, you could get paid, but we're taking a hands-off approach. We're not paying you, but if you could get somebody to pay you, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, even too, like, take away their scholarship. Most of the guys only play 1 or 2 years.
Exactly.
That's a whole other thing. Those guys are there to play basketball. It's like Cardell Jones said. I'm here to play football.
Not school.
not school. Yeah, which is true. I mean,
He did go back and get his degree, though.
yeah, I know, but I mean, and then he came back and falled out with the Defenders. R.I.P. XFL 2.0.
There's been some rumors, man. They might still come 2021.
Okay, there we go.
I think
Like that. I enjoyed watching the XFL.
I thought they in terms of the entertainment stuff. I thought the XFL was great. I wasn't a huge fan of the extra point thing, but I thought the XFL was great.
Yeah. All right, so let's switch back to basketball.
Yeah, let's get back to baseball. We can talk XFL any other time.
So, yeah, with the whole Zion thing, everybody does that. Me personally, I would have went, if I was, say, a graduate of the class of like 2010 or 11, I would have definitely went and played at Louisville. Rick Pitino was really giving those guys, showing them.
That's my thing. Like, there's been so much stuff that Wiseman from Memphis this year, the strippers and hookers and whatever Pitino was doing back at Louisville. Calipari's been caught. The only person that hasn't really been caught is Coach K, and you can't tell me he hasn't done it.
Oh, come on.
They just don't want to. I'm telling you, they just don't want to tarnish that man.
Go on.
I just think like he's coached for USA. He's so beloved by even players that didn't go to Duke.
Mm-hmm.
That's why nothing has came out on Duke. He's the only person in these top 5 all-time schools. I'm talking the Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, whoever else you could throw in there. Just all these blue blood schools that have already been caught. Memphis, Penny Hardaway getting caught this year, and he just loaned the dude money so his parents could live.
Yeah, that's another thing that I find strange is if they loan something to the people's parents, so that they like, not even for the kid but for the parents, after the kid's already there. I don't see a problem with that. That shouldn't.
Yeah, it was basically like, hey, you guys can't really afford to come see him play all the way in Memphis. Here, get yourself a setup here.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway has disposable money. I don't see the problem, not one bit. But then again, like you said, if the argument is, well, they're on scholarship too, well, if you did anything to kind of do your research as to why those scholarships are available for those players, it's because basically somebody paid to have those players there. That's not free money. That scholarship is a booster who's giving you that $60,000 it's going to cost for him to go there for 4 years. So by all means, take his scholarship, but that $60,000 that the boosters were given, give it to him.
Yeah, and that's another thing. But pretty much a scholarship is free money.
exactly.
With the scholarship, they're paying for your college tuition to play basketball, play football, play any kind of sport at their school. So it doesn't really.
I don't know.
To be honest, if you want to have the argument of scholarship versus being paid, I think there's significantly more money in being paid than there is taking that scholarship.
Yeah.
You could throw yourself through school, and by all means, if you don't want to pay that crap right now, take student loans. Everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
You make it to the NBA or the NFL or the MLB, you got a better shot at paying them anyways.
Yeah, I mean, completely, and that's the whole conversation with the NCAA that we can get into further on, more towards the season.
Yeah, let's not go too far into it.
I just don't see it affecting his future, just because, I mean, he was on his way to being Rookie of the Year, first overall draft pick.
He's
Not
on Gatorade commercials and stuff.
Yeah,
So
he's already getting paid. If you didn't know he was getting paid at Duke, you're already blind. You were blind to the fact. So it doesn't really change it. Like, sure, a judge might rule in this marketing agent's favor based on him admitting it, but it's not going to affect him at all.
yeah,
It won't affect Wiseman this year. If he's the number 1 overall pick, it won't affect him. The only thing it did is we couldn't see him play in college.
Yeah. So, speaking of hypotheticals, would Michael Jordan still be the GOAT in 2020?
No.
Not at all.
Like that.
Not at all. Like I said last week, this Last Dance has hyped everyone up and has everyone. Oh, MJ's undoubtedly the GOAT. MJ's this. MJ's that. MJ's this. MJ's that. I just don't. I simply don't think. I don't think MJ's top 5 if he's in the NBA right now.
Who would you put over him? Obviously, LeBron.
I think LeBron's better. I think Russell Westbrook is more talented. I think Kevin Durant. And then I'd probably put MJ there. So maybe I'll put him at 4. And then I'll probably... 5 could go a bunch of different ways depending on who you think. And the argument here is really derivative from what a lot of people have been tweeting out lately. Who wins the 96 Bulls or the 2017 Warriors? And as Cavs fans, you know we hate the Warriors.
Yep.
But I'll sit here and tell you to your face, I think the Warriors win that series.
Yeah, you think so?
I think they're entirely too fast for the 96 Bulls.
Yeah, that's my whole argument is players today are bigger, faster, and stronger just because they have the ability and the resources to all the crazy workouts. They do the hypo, whatever it is.
You know what LeBron does?
Yeah,
with
the
chambers.
The hyperbaric chamber. Yeah.
Hypobaric chambers.
Yeah.
They wear those leg things that like relax their muscles and all that. LeBron is just a freak of nature. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram, I don't know who doesn't follow him on Instagram.
Who
I know
doesn't?
I do.
Who doesn't follow LeBron?
Watch his wild ass workouts where he's up at 4 a.m. and he's just grinding. Like those commercials from a couple of years ago where he was waking up and obviously he's not running over bridges and stuff, running past the Guardian, but he's up that early and he's grinding.
Yeah,
you can't tell me LeBron is bigger, stronger, and faster than Michael Jordan. And everybody keeps talking about Michael Jordan would dog him out, blah, blah. Come on. LeBron James is a freak of nature. He was built in a laboratory.
LeBron would run Mike over, man.
Yeah. That's just not even I don't know why people keep trying to make it a competition. Like, who's the GOAT? Like, I get it. Jordan has, Air Jordan. He's got the whole Jordan franchise. He was, like the big thing back then. It's nostalgic for a lot of people. But LeBron was my Michael Jordan because when I was growing up, I was watching LeBron. When I was younger, LeBron was a kid from Akron, still at St. Vincent St. Mary. Then he was number 1 overall draft pick. Then he was running with the Cavs, first ever MVP for the Cavs. It was so fun watching LeBron. I burned his jersey after the decision. We've talked about that. Me and my buddy Tristan went out in the backyard and burnt it. And then when he came back, at first I was a little bitter because I still didn't trust him.
Yeah,
I was still a little iffy with him when he came back to playing, but then when I really said, all right, he's back, was that playoff game where he worked so hard because there was nobody else with him that he fell to his knees after the final buzzer. That's when I was like, all right, LeBron's back. I'm back on Team LeBron.
I mean, I never left. Obviously, didn't follow him as much back over when he was down in Miami. And I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I still follow, but I'm not tuning into a Lakers game just because LeBron's playing for him. It's as simple as that. But like you said, I think Jordan's in the GOAT conversation because he played in what's called the Jordan era. If he played in what's called the LeBron era, Jordan's not even in the discussion.
Oh, yeah. That's a fact. I mean,
we're discussing LeBron and Magic or LeBron and Larry or LeBron and Hakeem, or we're not talking LeBron Jordan.
Yeah. And the thing is, the people that try and call the 2010s the Steph Curry years are absolutely crazy. They're lunatics. That is that's banana land. That to even think that that's the Curry era. Like Curry, I guess he did switch up on shooting, but LeBron went to 8 straight finals.
9.
9?
No, he went to 8. That's right.
8 straight.
He's
finals.
been to 9. He's been to 9.
Yeah. There's no denying that the 2010.
2010 to 2018, I went to all these, but let's call it Steph's fucking years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
whatever. It's ridiculous, but some people want to say it. Those people are not intelligent.
He misses the playoffs 1 year, and people forget who that man is.
Right. Or Steph Curry shoots a threes. Like, remember the 73 win Warriors? How's that ring going for him? Oh,
exactly.
Wait. That Larry O'Brien trophy's sitting at the field house.
You want to talk about competition, bro, between the two? They said in the documentary that Jordan and the Bulls had not a single bit of competition except for the Rockets.
Yeah.
They laughed at everybody. There was no competition in the 90s in the NBA except for the Rockets or whoever they played in the finals that year. That was literally their only competition, bro. LeBron has had to go through Hall of Fame teams. He's beaten a team that is arguably better than the 95 Bulls.
Yeah, for sure. And people just want to downplay LeBron. He's a crybaby, blah, blah, blah.
He's beaten a dynasty in the Spurs.
Yeah.
The only knock there is on LeBron is that loss to the Mavericks.
Oh yeah.
That's the only one. That's the only one I can really take away from him. 07, he had no chance. He shouldn't have even been there in the first place. And then he's playing a dynasty team in the Spurs. When he lost to the Mavericks, that's the one I'm taking away from him, because that was his fault. And then he beat the Thunder and the Spurs, and then he lost to the Spurs again, a dynasty. And then now, go back to Cleveland, and he faced one of the greatest teams we've ever seen. Yeah. 4 years in a row.
Yeah, and a lot of those years, the first year, he didn't have any help. 15?
Not a single bit. Losing Kyrie in game 1 completely changed that series, because even without Kevin Love, I think they could win that series with Kyrie.
And that was as soon as Kyrie tried to do that little juke, and you could see his knee and he went down. I was like, oh shit! Like, damn it.
Because say what you want about that first year against Golden State, that Golden State team wasn't ready yet. They were ready the next year. When he beat them coming back 3-1, they were ready that year because they had the experience already. They've been there. They've done that. They weren't ready that first year. And then after they lost, now he's got to go play the 4 freaking All-Star team. He's got to play a team that we've never seen before. We've never seen a team with 4 All-Stars on it.
No, not like that. Not with those kind of All-Stars. And then to top it off, this year everybody's like, oh, it's because Durant left that the Warriors suck. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you still have, for the most part, 2 All-Stars on the court with Green and Curry.
And they sucked before Curry left.
Yeah.
Before he got hurt.
So, and everybody talks about Steph. Clearly the better player is Klay Thompson.
I think so too, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Steph is offensive, and that's it. He is an absolute liability on defense. Klay Thompson, you're looking at as one of the best two-way players in the league.
Curry does this, shoots, and then just kind of hangs around the backcourt and acts like he's playing D, then waits for somebody to give him the ball, and then he fucking chews on his mouthpiece like a dick.
I hate that so much.
Fred VanVleet had the NBA Finals he did last year because Steph couldn't guard him. It's Fred VanVleet, bro. Steph couldn't guard him, but let me tell me this guy deserved unanimous MVP and in the conversation to have an era of his own.
It's for the birds. I'm over it. I'm over Steph Curry. I'm so happy that the Warriors were one of the worst teams in the league. Everybody knew that was going to happen to the Cavs when LeBron left. It's inevitable.
Oh, so were the Cavs. Yeah. Their best player right now is Larry Nance Jr.
Right.
And then the whole year was, Kevin Love all pissed off because everybody kept talking about him getting traded. And then there was arguments in the locker room. There was the whole thugs situation with Beeline. It wasn't a good.
Beeline was a rush hire.
Yeah.
It was like Dan was like, oh, I got to hurry up and hire my guy. Let me get my guy in there before Kobe makes any of his guys relevant to me. But let's go ahead and move on to the NFL, my man. Let's start with Tua's contract. What do you think of the Miami Dolphins kind of showing a leap of faith in Tua and giving him $36 million of fully guaranteed money plus a $19.5 million signing bonus?
Hope it works out for you guys. I mean, the guy did have the Bo Jackson injury not even, 7 months ago?
Exactly.
I get that all these doctors are saying, oh, he's just as good as he was. Oh, he's back to 100%. No worries. Very little risk of re-injury. Like you said, less than 7 months ago, he went through major hip surgery on the Bo Jackson injury.
And on top of that, the other injuries that he suffered throughout his Alabama career, and on top of that, he's left-handed. So
He's never played a full season. He's a lefty. Has had more injuries than anybody in the last 3 years of college football. I get the talent is there. It's undeniable the talent is there. But to give him fully guaranteed money, I thought if anybody's contract was going to be incentive based, it would for sure be his. But for some reason, that front office was like, "Nah, have it, buddy. Just take it. Just take it."
And then on Sunday, went out and bought his mom a brand new Escalade, and all these people were like, "They're like, oh, he's not going to be able to pay for that." It's like he was the 5th pick overall. Of course, he's going to be able to pay for that.
Bro dropped cash on it that day.
Right? It's not like he's a 2nd or 3rd round pick.
He dropped cash that day.
Yeah.
He don't owe a payment.
Walked in with that Dolphins check in hand.
Don't owe not a payment one on that car.
No. And I mean, hey, good for him. I hope he does well in the league. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, exactly. Not wishing no ill will on Tua, because I really do. I could care less if the Dolphins succeed, bro. I hope he does. I've always liked Tua, but I just you hear all this stuff about these busts, and I've seen a lot of people fail for a lot less. What was the guy's name? Safety from Oregon. The Browns drafted him in the 7th round. All he had was an ACL tear. Top 5 talent. Tore his ACL his senior year. It's like F-A-F-E-O-K. So it's 3 different names. And I'm not exactly sure how to say it, but he was from Oregon. He was either a corner or a safety. He tore his ACL. They took him in the 7th round, and basically they were like, all right, this was a 1st-round talent that no one's touching because he tore his ACL a month prior to the draft or whatever it was, or a month prior to the end of the season. So there was no way he was playing in any games or whatever. And so basically the Browns took him in the 7th round. But here's the thing, a less significant injury, and they didn't have to pay him $40 million. $40 million.
With a 5th-year option.
That protects him a little bit, but not really, because it's all guaranteed. You're still gonna have to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna be paying him crap in that 5th year. I'm pretty sure. I don't know his name for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Effie something.
What year was that?
I think it was the same year. I think it was the same year that Myles Garrett was drafted.
But while I look this up, yeah, speaking of Tua, he's a great player, but can he stay healthy?
Exactly. I mean, I hope he can, because like you said, not wishing no ill will on the man. Really hopes he could succeed. Because like I said, could really give a damn what the Dolphins do, as long as they're not playing the Browns or the Cowboys, in my opinion. By all means, have yourself a success. If that means Tua wins the Super Bowl for Miami, by all means.
Yeah.
If I'm not playing you in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs, I don't care what you do. So please succeed if you can, Tua. But just to take that much of a risk on for a quarterback, and I'm not even sure Joe Burrow will get a fully guaranteed contract, and he's been completely healthy for 5 years of college football.
Justin Herbert,
Yeah.
fairly healthy. Not going to see that kind of money one pick later.
You said a safety?
He was either a safety or a corner. I could get back to you on the name later.
Were you talking about Scooby Wright?
No, that's the
Out of
linebacker.
Arizona?
No, I'm telling you, he played for Oregon. Maybe I'm pretty off on his name. I know he's got a fairly foreign sounding name, but so I'll have to find it. But I definitely know I'm talking about the right person. He has 3 names. It's Effie something something. He was a safety. He never even seen the field, but they took him late, like very late in the 7th round. He tore his ACL at Oregon. Never seen the field.
Ifo Ekpri Alamu?
Yeah, that's him. Ifo Ekpri Alumu.
Yeah.
The Browns took him in the 7th round, right?
Yeah.
Tore his ACL prior to the draft. Something.
Last time he played was in
2016, and he was cut by the Dolphins in 17 February.
Yeah, so I knew he bounced around a couple different places, but still, a guy who had top talent, who just didn't work out with a less significant injury, just to kind of further the point of why on earth this contract was even talked about being fully guaranteed. Like, obviously, there's got to be some money that's guaranteed. You got to pay the guy something, even if he does never see the field. But, like, are they going to sit him this year? Are they playing Josh Rosen all year? Are they playing Fitzpatrick all year?
So I was listening to NFL Live, and all these people were like, "You can't pay that kind of money just to have him sit." But it's like you're really gonna throw him out there with a relatively less than a year-old injury against NFL defenses who have been there, who know how to hit, who know where to hit him.
Exactly.
I say let Fitzpatrick start the season.
I mean, if you look at it as a lost season, not really wanting to play Tua, I say give Rosen a shot to earn himself a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
Give him a shot to earn yourself some trade value.
Yeah, that could definitely be an option there. So, speaking of big paydays and cash, Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports, he's from Massachusetts, big Patriots guy, got arrested 5 years ago, Tuesday, in New York at the NFL headquarters over Deflategate. On Monday, it was announced that he won the Monday Night Football date with Roger Goodell to sit in his basement and watch the game. Now, I think he dropped $250,000 or something like that, hey, the money went to a good cause.
And he was willing to go significant more. If you watched his progressions of the tweet, he was willing to go over $1 million.
Yeah, so if you got that kind of money, why not? All the money goes to a good cause, and you get to mess with the guy who you've been messing with for five plus years. And you have those shirts. You have the Goodell clown shirts. You have the Fire Goodell hats. You have the flags. You have all of that. You got your press passes revoked from the NFL, you had to sneak into press day at the Super Bowl multiple years in a row wearing fake mustaches and hats and stuff. So I think it's gonna be hilarious. I'm going to watch the game and have whatever live stream they have on if Roger Goodell doesn't try to pull any sneaky shit or anything like that.
I'm gonna watch it. I was gonna say, like, unfortunately, I think it's just something we're gonna have to hear separate. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I will still listen to the him with like one of those, spy pens in his pocket or something like that.
Yeah. Just bring me. I mean, we're on recording right now, anyways. Like, what are you recording? The stuff I'm recording too, just with a pen. But anyways, like I said, like there's no way Roger Goodell lets him live stream that. No. Not a single chance.
Goodell's probably like, what?
He's probably already peeing himself. I think Roger Goodell is an opportunist, so I don't think he turns him down. I think the flack he would get and the negative response he would get is just too much for him to turn Portnoy down. But I guarantee you there's a set of rules. There might be like our conversation can't be put out or can't be even talked about on Barstool. I could see like there being a significant set of rules, but I don't think he turns it down.
Then why even do it if you're not going to record it? What's the point? I think people want to see that.
I think he was just doing it to sell.
Sorry, go on.
I think he was just kind of doing it to sell. I think the recording would come from Portnoy wanting to record it rather than Goodell. I think Goodell was just like, hey, who doesn't want to watch a game with the commissioner of the football league or of the National Football League? And Portnoy was like, Portnoy being the content creator he is and the somewhat genius he is, was like, man, we should put cameras in this and simulcast this, live stream it right away. Let's put this on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So, speaking of Portnoy and Roger Goodell and Deflategate and the Patriots, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as good as everybody says they are?
I think that this is one of the best skill position talented teams that Tom Brady has ever played for. Like obviously he's played with Randy Moss and Gronk but all at separate times. He's always had that one guy. Now he has Gronk. He has Mike Evans. He has Godwin. He has a talented team around him. So like, but I don't think you just pencil him in on the wall. Tampa Bay going to Super Bowl. I don't think, because if you take a look at that NFC South, there's some killers right now.
Oh yeah.
The New Orleans Saints are 2 bad plays away from winning 2 Super Bowls in a row.
And just to talk about how the Panthers have kind of reinvented themselves with bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. They already have one of the best running backs in the league in Christian McCaffrey. Coach Rule, he used all his draft picks on defensive players. So, and their defense was historically in their franchise the worst. They give the most points per game in the franchise history. So I think the Panthers they're in rebuilding right now. I don't know if this year is going to be a year that they are. I think they might still be at the bottom of the barrel this year. That or the Falcons, but still, you got Teddy Bridgewater, Matty Ice, Drew Brees. Like, you're going up against some pretty heavy hitters, and the weakest quarterback in your division is Teddy Bridgewater, who went 5-0 last year, coming off the bench, coming off of that torn hamstring that got him out of Minnesota. And he went 5-0. So that's going to be a tough conference.
You want a bold prediction?
Go on.
The worst quarterback in the NFC South at the end of this year, at the end of the season, should we have one? Tom Brady.
I think I know who you're going to say. Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. No knock on him because we both, without a doubt, think he's the greatest of all time. He's 40-some years old. Without a doubt, I think we saw last year he can't carry a team.
Yeah.
He used to be able to. There's been plenty of teams he took to the Super Bowl that weren't talented around him. It shouldn't have even been in it. And he took them there. He used to be able to carry a team. He can't anymore. The only thing is I think he has the talent around him now to help carry him. But I think in terms of stats, in terms of QBR, in terms of touchdowns, I think Tom Brady finishes fourth in
the NFC South.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I think they're going to have a mediocre year. They're not going to be great like everybody says.
No, I don't. I get, Tom Brady's done this and this and this and this. Why should we sit here and discount him? At some point. What's he, 43, 44?
I think he just turned 43.
Ask Brett Favre the difference between him playing for the Packers, him playing for the Jets, and then that last year in Minnesota.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and with that too, he had to ask his tight end who retired because he's had six known concussions in his time in the NFL, and that's not even counting college, high school.
Even Pee Wee.
Rob Gronkowski is unfortunately, and it's going to end up really sad, ground zero for CTE.
Oh yeah, it'll be one of the studies done. Yeah.
They already won his brain. Guarantee you, he's already circled on a list of when that guy goes, we gotta have it.
Then they'll be like Brady, not so much. Brady seems to, be all there, but Gronk. Remember when he smashed on New Year's Eve or on New Year's when the ball dropped and he smashed the Lego
Steve Harvey head?
Yeah, just
stared at the camera like, who the hell is this guy in here?
Yeah, Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey, that nice Christian man. I can't believe they have him do Family Feud. Then you put him up there next to Gronk, and Gronk's shotgunning beers and kicking his Lego face in and stuff. It wasn't really a good match, but I remember watching that. But yeah, I just can't see the Bucs being as good as they say they are.
All right, so one more topic on the NFL before we get to our favorite game.
The schedule game.
Oh yeah, it's the in the email I sent you. You see what was in big bold letters?
Schedule game, boy. I almost mentioned it last week on the podcast. I was gonna be like, Ethan, we get to play the schedule game next week.
Gronk.
Yeah.
Not the Gronk. The Albert Bell. If I can get this up there. All right, so Fauci came out. That's how you say his name, right? Fauci?
Something like that. I'm never good with pronunciation, but Dr. Anthony Fauci. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name.
He came out and said the virus will make the decision on if the NFL season happens, and the NFL is, I believe he used a term such as cesspool, not cesspool, but something along those lines. I don't know if he used ground zero or something like that. He used a term that it was the perfect example of spreading
coronavirus.
I mean,
I really don't think that. I mean, as long as the players every Saturday, are getting tested or however long it takes for the coronavirus test to go through, and they're doing all that, checking temperatures, let the boys play.
And with that, I could see what he's saying, but also that sounds like a real Donald Trump thing to say. You know what I'm saying? It'll be the virus. It'll be the virus that decides if football plays, not football.
Well, I think Trump wants all the sports back because he keeps having all these conferences with all the commissioners.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying it's Trump's idea to say that, but it does sound like a real thing for him to say. Football will not be back unless the virus says so. And if anybody says otherwise,
make the decision on the season.
Yes.
I feel like Trump probably pushed him after he said that. Like, shut up, nerd.
They got off camera, and Trump was like, "Say that again, You're cut. We're borrowing Amy Acton from Ohio.
Man, if you would have said that when I was in charge of the USFL, I would have whooped your ass.
Yeah, I was coming for you. But I mean, the only thing I'm worried about with an early comeback for football is, so like you said, they get tested every Saturday. But what happens one Saturday? Baker Mayfield tests positive. Now the Browns have to go into a game with a backup quarterback for at least 2 weeks.
Here's the thing, though. That's why we pick up Scam Newton, who's still floating around the free agency.
I'm not sure why they didn't pick up any of these veterans. Like, I get Case Keenum's okay, but I don't want Case Keenum leading my game for more than 2 quarters.
No. And I get that that's Stefanski's boy and stuff, but I would have especially picked up Jameis, because Jameis is like, he can get out of the pocket a little bit, but he's more of like a pocket passer. I would have liked Jameis a lot.
I think Jameis could do a lot in mentoring Baker Mayfield on what not to do.
Get your ass checked, son. 6 months.
Don't go the first 6 years of your career completely blind. Don't do that for starters. But like, I feel like Jameis could come in and like, he's been a consummate professional. I like, all the knock on Jameis comes from Florida State, the crab legs, and I mean the interceptions obviously come from Tampa Bay, but all the knock on off the field stuff for Jameis is definitely 100% Florida State. So he's been the consummate professional. I think the Saints, it scares me because if Drew Brees walks away next year, with as good as Jameis can be, if he takes away the interceptions, the Saints could have just got another quarterback. They could possibly turn into a future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, and he already knows the division.
Knows the division, knows the league. And they got a guy a quarter of the way through his career, if they turn him around, who has the arm talent and strength to 100% be a future Hall of Famer if he plays a little more conservatively and not so reckless.
And here's the thing, though. You got to remember, he got 30 touchdowns last season.
He consistently throws over 5,000 yards. He consistently gets 30 touchdowns. That's what I'm saying. He's got the talent. The knock on him is the interceptions.
Yeah, and the interceptions, everybody was downplaying the touchdowns because of the interceptions. And it was like, okay, but did your quarterback throw 30 touchdowns last season?
Exactly.
Jameis has led one of the most high-powered offenses of the last couple of years.
I've always liked Jameis. I've always said it. I think it's great that he got LASIK, but I really don't want to see down the line a Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston Super Bowl.
I mean, I'd be okay with it, bro. Why don't you want to see that? That'd be kind of cool.
Just because
you don't want to have to root. You don't want to have to root against Jameis.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I feel it. I don't like. I say all the time, I want a Browns Cowboys Super Bowl. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and I love, speaking of Jameis, I love Jameis just because that picture of him when he was out of shape with that gut throwing the football, and like all the tweets that were going out about him, like when your uncle gets off the grill, like, let me show you something, young blood.
He's gotta stop putting stuff out. He should quit social media because he's not good at that at all. Some of the workout videos he posts and stuff, he's just opening people to flame him, man. That big
one where they're go on.
I was gonna say the one where that big ball sack was flying and he had to evade it. I was like, why? Like, sure, you got to evade some stuff, but I'm sure it's moving a bit faster than a big ball sack.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Like, who was that tweeted at him? That was like talking about being a quarterback. I was like, I never had. It's like, you got to quit working out with your buddies.
Oh man, it was a big name too. I think Andrew Hawkins tweeted at him too. I was gonna say you should search it. And
David Carr.
Why is David Carr talking crap?
I don't know.
I thought it was Derek, but I thought it was a quarterback that was in the league currently. But what room does David Carr got to talk?
I don't know.
He said, "Stop paying your friends to train you. Stop. Get some help. I've been in a lot of collapsing pockets, and never once did I have defenders flying at my head with a laughing emoji, like the crying laughing." And then Jameis said, "Hey, bro, I have nothing but love for you. Reach out to help or mind your business, though. I've been working with my personal trainer since I was 14. We built this from the bottom, and we're still building. Treat others how you want to be treated, bro," with the shh emoji, hashtag #hater, hashtag social distancing. Then he posted a video from one of his games against the Saints where they were actually coming at his head like that.
I didn't see that video, but like I said, what room does David Carr have to talk? And a classy response from Jameis. He didn't come at him, but I'm sure you click on that tweet and go through those comments. I can't imagine the people that came at David Carr.
Oh, for sure. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, how was your career?
Jameis has already been in the league longer than you. He's been more relevant longer than you. He's won way more than you. He's done way more than you. Just stop.
Right.
If it was Tom Brady or Drew Brees or, like, obviously they're class acts, they're not going to say anything. But if it was one of those guys, okay, then it's time to take it seriously. Don't give me the Texans equivalent of Jamarcus Russell freaking criticizing Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and another thing too, like if it was, Brett Favre or one of those, or Dan Marino, Steve Young, one of those quarterbacks, I can understand that coming from somebody like that. Hell, even Drew Bledsoe.
Anybody that was productive in the NFL, bro, not David Carr. You take a list of top 5 bust quarterbacks of all time. David Carr to me is probably not no less than number 3.
Yeah, well, number 1 is definitely Jamarcus Russell.
That's what I'm saying, and David Carr is probably number 3. Number 2, you could argue. Who knows?
Ryan Leaf or something like that.
Ryan Leaf probably, just because of how high he went. I would say David Carr.
Johnny's got to be somewhere on that list.
I'm trying with him going 22. I'm trying not to put him that high, but like Johnny probably was 4.
Brandon Weeden, Colt McCoy,
Brady Quinn. I think Brady Quinn went 22 as well. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. 22, like obviously you want the 22nd pick to work out, but like it's not as bad as losing the first pick.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. At least Brady Quinn got picked up by other teams. Wasn't just like everybody was like, whoa. After that, like, that, what's his name? Oh, why can't I think of it now? The astronomer. Last name is Tyson. DeGrasse Neil Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson? Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. What did I say? DeGrasse Neil Tyson?
Yeah, you said Degrassi.
Degrassi, that's a good show, man. Shouts out Drake.
Shout out to my boy.
But yeah, that gives him like he thought Johnny tried his best to get out of Cleveland because he thought your boy was gonna pick him up.
Jerry Jones. I thought he was too. I was so scared when we were up at 15 that draft. I was like, no. I'd rather have 10 more years of Romo. No. Please give me Zach Martin. No. Please give me Zach Martin.
Well, then, even after he left Cleveland, he said he was talking with Jerry Jones, and they had a plan, and then Jerry was like, we never had a plan. I interviewed him, and
well,
that was it.
By that time, Dak was what Dak became. By the time he got out of Cleveland, Dak was already doing his thing. Because they were only a year or 2 apart.
Yeah. So, the virus makes the decision on the season. I don't think so. They said they were going to limit the crowd to 15,000, which how are you going to do that? Are you going to fill the whole stadium, or are you just going to fill the lower bowl, or
They're gonna make you sit 4 seats apart.
Something like that.
Only season ticket holders are allowed entrance.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that for the Indians.
I mean, no, if you could get into an Indians game for that, yeah, by all means do that. But I don't know really. Like, they could obviously pull football off, and baseball off, and basketball without fans. I think it's really hard to do without football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Just because the fans are that's the one thing that sports need are fans, and because if you don't have the fans, what are you playing? Backyard football?
Exactly. You're just there. You got 30 some guys on each side just showing up to play backyard football. So I like you said, the virus doesn't make the decision. It's just kind of crap. But you know what time it is, my man.
Oh, I already know what time it is.
You already got. Do you already have it pulled up?
The schedule. Yeah, I got mine written down.
Oh, you have it written down. I didn't write it down, but for some reason my phone just skipped completely past it. I'm pretty sure I have it saved. But go ahead with. You can go ahead and start it, just so I could find it.
Yeah, I was just writing it down while we were talking.
I have it right here.
You want to go week by week?
Yeah, basically just we can start with week 1 at the Ravens.
Loss.
You think they come out with an L?
Yeah, I think the Ravens, just because of how much the Browns embarrassed them last season at home, that they're not going to want to deal with that. It's going to be close. I'm saying it's like a field goal. It's going to come down to the kicker to decide.
I think right away, week 1, we see a lot of the differences in coaching.
Okay.
I think they lose, but I think, like you said, I think after week 1, even though it's a loss, we look at the Browns as a very optimistic team. I think they look a lot more buttoned up. I think they look a lot more talented. I think they look like they could really be a successful team. Like you said, it's a revenge game for Baltimore. It's an AFC North game. Anything goes. But I think Baltimore takes the first one.
Yeah. And so week 2, since he comes to Cleveland, I don't even have to say it. I don't think you have to say it, but we do for the viewers. That's going to be a big, fat W for the Brownies.
35-10.
Oh, they're just going to get smoked.
They're going to destroy the Bengals week 2. The
first home game, it's on a Thursday night.
The Browns show up in Thursday night games, bro.
Oh, yeah. And they just took an L to the Ravens that was so close. Probably some blown calls. And so they come out and they just destroy the Bengals. Week 3, Redskins are in town. That's another W.
Oh yeah, I don't think the Redskins are too good are going to be too good of a team. I like Haskins. I think he can succeed in the NFL. I just don't know if the rest of that team around him or that organization can.
Yeah. And Chase Young, he's good, but he's follows his last name. He's young.
He's good, but he's young. And that Browns offensive line could be even better than we think, with them being in contract talks with Jason Peters.
Alrighty, so week 4 at the Boys down in Dallas. I'm saying the Browns get the L there.
I think the Browns win.
You do?
I think the Browns always, it doesn't happen often. Last time was 8 years ago, but I think the Browns always play well in Dallas. Every time I've seen them down in Dallas, they play well. For some reason, some magical reason, even if they're terrible, they play well in Dallas. Dallas doesn't play that well in Dallas.
I'm just saying just because my main thing is just Zeke. and
You guys,
seeing how the run defense will hold up with Zeke.
I can definitely understand that. And elite running backs have been the Browns' kind of kryptonite for the last couple of years. Hopefully, with some new additions, or Sheldon Richardson having a better year this year, hopefully they can boost that run defense. But I can see what you're saying about Zeke having a really good game week 4. Like I said, I just think the Browns play well in Dallas. A 3-1 start is something the Browns really need. It's something that, as I've looked at the Cowboys' schedule, the Cowboys can rebound from.
it's a slow start this year.
Okay, so week 5, the Indianapolis Colts come to town, bringing Phillip Rivers and his interception offense. Even though I love Phillip Rivers, I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Browns get the W there. That's just what I'm calling now. Browns are undefeated at home at this point.
Undefeated at home, and you've got them at 4-2. I've got Rivers beating the Browns.
Okay.
I think it's a trap game. I think they work so hard to beat the Dallas Cowboys, and then they look forward to the Pittsburgh Steelers and look over Phillip Rivers and the Colts.
You say it was a trap game, as in Brian?
No, it's a trap game. As in Brian.
So, week 6 in the Steel City, I'm giving the Browns a W. You know, I should probably move that more. W, West Side.
West Side.
Browns. You know why? This is a revenge game. This is a revenge game for Myles Garrett.
Take all the revenge you want within the ramifications of the law of the NFL, please.
Yeah. Don't take anybody's helmet off. Don't crack anybody over the head with the helmet. No matter what they say, or you claim they say, and they say they didn't, or whatever the NFL says, doesn't matter. Do not hit the guy over the head with his helmet.
Yeah, because I think we've learned at this point, even if he did say what is claimed that he said,
It didn't matter.
It wasn't going to come out, even though we all know that there was all those not sound engineers, but the guys holding the big mics were all around there. It was a primetime game. Total BS that nothing was heard, but...
You're telling me...
That was last season, you know.
Yeah, let's move on. We had a lot of chances last year to be successful. They didn't work out. Me and you both think that's coaching, but whatever. I think they beat the Steelers too. I just think Ben Roethlisberger comes. They stick with Ben all year, but I think Ben Roethlisberger comes out and shows the Steelers it's time to move on.
I can see that. So week 7 in the jungle down in Cincinnati, I'm giving the Browns another W. I think we sweep the Bengals.
Me too. I think the Bengals end the year maybe 4-12, 5-11. I don't think Joe Burrow instantly makes him that much better. I think he could have a very successful NFL career. He doesn't turn him into a playoff team year 1.
I think he might mirror the same kind of rookie season that Baker had.
Okay.
Just coming in, getting that hopeless team, giving them hope. Except for, in this case, well, I guess we did have Jarvis. So, I guess that makes sense with AJ Green.
Yeah, we had Jarvis, and then he has AJ, but AJ hasn't played in 2 years, I feel like. Mm-hmm. He didn't play at all last year, and he was pretty injury-prone the year before. And it's what's pushed Dalton out the door. I think they beat the Bengals, too. Like I said, Bengals are going to be a 3-13, 4-12, 5-11 team. Not somebody that's really going to affect a team that we think the Browns can beat.
Okay. And then we get the gambling boys from Viva Las Vegas on week 8. I'm giving the Browns a W on that one.
I'm going to give the Browns a loss in Vegas. I think...
No, they're in Cleveland.
Oh, that's right. I still think they lose to the Raiders. They've always played the Raiders really weird. John Gruden, I think, towards the end of the year, had the Raiders looking like a formidable team. And I think look for the Raiders to fight for one of those wild card spots in this year in the playoffs.
So by week 8, when they play the Browns, who's under center, Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota?
Marcus Mariota.
You think so?
I think since Gruden was hired, everything he has said has pointed to the fact that he just doesn't like Derek Carr.
He liked Mariota when he was doing Gruden's camps.
He loved Mariota coming in. I think he thinks Mariota's smart. I think he thinks Mariota can run his offense. For some reason, Derek Carr has looked good his first couple years in the NFL. John Gruden just seems to not like him. Even going so far as to hype up Nathan Peterman more than he did Derek Carr.
That is true. All right, so week 9, Browns are on a bye. One of those weeks where I get to chill, don't have to be up at 11 to get ready, even though it probably will be to watch other games. Week 10, the Texans come to town. I'm giving the Browns a loss on that one.
I think they beat Houston. I don't think Houston's that good, man. I like to.
You know what?
Let me take that back. I will give them a W because I forgot.
We just got to take Will Fuller away.
They traded away everybody.
So we got to take Will Fuller away, and then Deshaun Watson's got to run for his life from Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
Or Seahawks Twitter thinks we're getting KJ Wright and they're getting Myles Garrett. So
whatever. All right, so that game is going to be a revenge game for Duke Johnson, but Duke Johnson really didn't do anything down in Houston last year.
Duke Johnson is not good enough to have revenge games, bro.
He was a good.
He was a good role player in Cleveland.
Back, yeah.
All right, so week 11, we take on the Eagles at home. What are your predictions?
I think they beat the Eagles too. I don't think they're that good. I don't get the hype behind the Eagles. I never have. Didn't last year. Everyone was like, "Oh, certified. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the league." Where, bro? Where? Jay Ajayi is not that good anymore. Miles Sanders is not that good anymore. Alshon Jeffrey can't stay on the field. Nelson Aguilar can't stay on the field. Carson Wentz gets hurt half the time. Mm-hmm. Where are the Eagles that good, man? just I don't know where.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Unless they put in Jalen Hurts. I'm not talking about that game. I'm just talking about in general.
I think, like I said, I think Jalen Hurts could be a really good quarterback in the NFL. Just I wouldn't worry about Jalen Hurts year 1.
Yeah. All right, so week 12 at Jacksonville. Browns, I'm giving a W to.
Yeah, I think they go on a run as well. Jacksonville, really just, they're always weird to me because they spend money in the wrong spots. Why wouldn't they bring in Cam or Jameis? Like, I get, like, you think Gardner Minshew might be your answer, but there's a lot that showed he's not. There's a lot that showed Gardner Minshew is not the answer.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's like he's a wild card.
He won some shitty games your defense kept you in. He was winning 19 to 15 games.
All right, so after week 12, the Browns get on their United jet and fly over to Nashville, Tennessee, take on the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to give this one an L. Yeah. Just because the Titans, remember all during the playoffs, I kept telling Will, watch out for the Titans, dude. And he was like, they're not going to beat the Ravens.
What'd they do?
Vrabel is that dude, man. Vrabel is the one guy that's come from the Belichick tree that has without a doubt succeeded. There's arguments for everybody else that's come from that tree. Like you said, the Browns' run defense is mediocre at best, unless some things change prior to the start of this season. They're guaranteed to have Derrick Henry in their lineup this year. Tannehill isn't great, but he gets the job done. It's the reason they paid him. He's kind of almost a great quarterback for the system that's there. I don't think they win at all. I don't think they get smoked, but I don't think they win.
Yeah. And then so they leave Nashville and they head back to Cleveland week 14 against Baltimore. I'm calling this a W. I'm saying they're coming back. They're saying not in first energy. You're not coming in here and playing like that. And they hold Lamar Jackson, because if you watched the first Ravens-Browns game last year, and how Myles Garrett and Schobert, even though he's not with the team anymore, how they were holding and containing him, what are you going to do? You're going to force him to throw. He's not the best passing quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
So I give the Browns that W.
I give me the Browns in prime time 7 out of 7 days a week.
All right, so week 15 at Giants, Browns, W.
Yeah, the Giants are going to win 5 games this year at most.
Not to be a homer, but I think that I would rather have Nick Chubb than Saquon Barkley.
I'm not sure I would, but I think it's very, at the end of this year, I could see the argument being had that Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the league and Saquon Barkley having a pretty shit year. What happens?
Oh, go on.
What happens when there's just zero talent around a running back?
Nothing against.
Exactly.
Can't do anything. Yeah.
All you got to do is stop Barkley, and you beat that Giants team. That's all you got to do.
Okay, so week 16, the Browns stay in New Jersey at MetLife. They take on the Jets. This is another Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield game. Baker gets the W again. Baker's just a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
I hope this game finally puts that crap to rest.
Yeah.
I really do. Baker has now won 2 games against the Jets, looking to go a third. This year, I can't put against Sam Darnold. He didn't play. But if he wasn't Frenching some little whore behind the brothel in New York, he might have been playing.
I don't blame the guy, but sometimes you got to make sure these women are brushing their teeth. So are you. So is he. I don't know. Isn't it bacteria that gets in your
throat or something like that?
I don't. Yeah, it's a bacterial infection, but it's.
I've never had mono, so
it's
I don't know.
They call it the kissing disease, bro.
I've kissed my fair share of women. I never got mono. Maybe
exactly.
I made the right decision. I don't know.
It's called hygiene. And his little. Let's not get into Sam Darnold and mono. How on earth does someone get mono and they miss 6 weeks? I had kids coming to school and playing football the next day, but this guy's making $30 million, and let's freaking.
Kids that had mono that play too. So, week 17, the Squealers come into First Energy. I'm going to give the Browns a W on this one.
Like I said, I think Ben Roethlisberger comes out this year. They don't go away from him, but I think he proves that they need to move on.
So I am once again. I will send you the clip, Brendan, so you can add it in of my prediction from last season. And I said the same thing, 13-3, but this is a whole different feel though this season.
Wow.
I said 12-4. I was going through to see what I said just to make sure I was on. Yeah, 12-4 I think seems pretty realistic to me. Obviously, things happen here or there. Browns could fool on Brown. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we're not perfect. This is probably in the most optimistic setting there is. And if you could find a clip of both of us,
I'm not sure if there is one, but I know there's.
This is the one where you had to miss it and Larry was in there.
Okay, so yeah, I mean I could throw it in there if you want me to. I'll try to just put you in there, and then I could throw a clip making fun of you or something. We could definitely throw that in there. 12-4, 2 years in a row, but like you said, just a completely different feel. And I get we've always been optimistic about the Cleveland Browns. But here's the thing: it seems like they have some adults running the floor at this point. It seems like there's some adults, there's some minds in the building that deserve to be there. I'm not gonna put out what all the stuff we've heard about Freddie Kitchens. There's been rumors. There's been this. There's been that. Just seemed like a redneck drunk got the keys to the kingdom, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and you can even tell the change in the culture there this season because everybody's amped up. Though they're tweeting at Stefanski, they're tweeting at all these guys. They weren't doing that last offseason with Freddie Kitchens.
OBJ didn't even acknowledge he was a Cleveland Brown until the start of the season, bro.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not once.
But yep, so I have 13-3. Brendan, you're 12-4. Obviously, things will change throughout the season. I said 13-3 last year. We went in 6-10. You said 12-4 last season. They went 6-10. So
I was gonna say I think I was pretty right on there too. 11-5, 12-4, somewhere around there. I think I said that too. So obviously, a little more optimism is there in May and June. Because we haven't seen anything yet. I just think the Browns, with the young head coach and the minds they have in that front office, can really take advantage of the separate time that some of these other teams who have the older front offices and the different minds are going to struggle to do. Those virtual meetings, tell me Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry aren't running those flawlessly.
Yeah, I can totally see it just because virtual meetings suck, as you know.
I know.
You just have to make the best of the virtual meetings while you're there.
And that's what I'm saying. I think I would put my trust in a virtual meeting in Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski before, let's say, a Dan Snyder and Ron Rivera or a Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick.
Oh, those are probably snooze fest right there.
Yeah. Bill's probably like, all right, let's get on. Let's talk special teams. Stidham, you're playing quarterback. I don't know who our running back's going to be this year. It might be Sony Michel. It might be James White. All right, guys, that's it. See you in September. We'll figure it out.
All right, don't suck.
Yeah, just don't suck.
You're done.
That's not the Patriot way.
God, I miss Brady.
God, yeah, God. Where's Tom when you need him?
All right, well, anything else you would like to say there, Brendan?
I think we pretty much covered everything that needed to be covered. There was the McDaniels rumor that basically Brady was fed up with McDaniels, but he basically shot that down 30 minutes later.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Bleacher Report put this thing out where there was rumors that Brady's decision to leave was loosely based on the fact that him and McDaniels he was just fed up with him, couldn't stand the dude. 30 minutes later, Brady tweets, yeah, that's just not right. That's just not correct.
Brady's getting good at tweeting out his thoughts about the Patriots now.
My man didn't join Twitter till a year ago, and he just tweets at everything now. It's awesome. Like you said, the Barstool thing today. Thank you for your service. That's awesome.
Yeah. I would like to say, hopefully, by next week, I will have my mixer configured back with my computer. Something's being weird with it to where it's not. The mixer works, computer works, but they're not working together. So I have to keep working on that. That's why I'm going through my headphones, even though these are Audio Technica. So hopefully this microphone is good.
I mean, your sound has sounded pretty good, if I'm being honest.
Well, right on. That's about it for me.
I believe that's pretty much it for me. Again, think we did a good one this week. Think we added a little bit of different stuff that we kind of fell short on in previous weeks. Some of the more kind of natural conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Alrighty, guys. So, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter name is @ethsimpson@gmail.com.
That's your email.
Are you kidding me? I did it again.
Yeah.
Email me again.
My Twitter name is @eth.simpson, CGOD.
There it is. Mine is @bwardcle. Give us a follow. If you want to follow the podcast, we've got our official sites already up. On Twitter, it's @podcastgiven. On Instagram, it's @anygivenpodcast. And go ahead and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/anygivenpodcast. Any last words, Ethan?
Yeah, if you guys want to email me, go ahead. I already gave you my email about, what is this, the second or third time I've done that?
Second or third, but you're already getting accused of emails, bro. Might as well email. Might as well get all the emails we could get. Email me too. I'll give it. wardbrendanmedia@gmail.com. Email me too.
So there you go. You guys can be on my mailing list, I guess. I'll send you frequent emails, apparently.
We could even throw out the podcast email if you want.
Yeah, if you want to give it, go for it.
If you got any inquiries about the podcast, if you want to email me, let me know you hate me. Let Ethan know you dislike him. The email for the podcast is anygivenpodcastcle@gmail.com.
Alrighty, so there we go. You got our emails. I'm not going to give out my phone number.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's the one thing. You can email me. Just don't email me anything too wild if you're a dude or anything. But, yeah. So that's it for us. So like I said, checking off on Ethan Simpson.
Brendan Ward.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.